Coming to you with another Battle Axe first day of the week breakdown. Like we always say, to keep brothers and sisters in the spirit, starting them off on a good week. Like we always say, we're seeing the things that's transpiring in the earth. You want to make sure that you're getting spiritually fed and properly fed. You know, that you're eating at an adequate spiritual diet, to kind of keep you staying focused on the things to come, the thing that's happening in the world, and the things that's going to happen. So we continue to bring these classes out, and all praise to the Most High. We're going to keep it enduring in this fight up until Yahweh shall come back. Today's class is Flee Babylon's Snares and Traps. Flee Babylon's snares and traps, because we constantly see that, guess what, they're constantly doing what, putting snares and traps on our people to, guess what, take them away from the truth. We can't be ignorant of Esau's devices, of Satan's devices, to cause us to steer away from this truth, to cause us to what, steer away from the law, statutes, and commandments, because that's what the purpose is. Esau is trying to take as many as us as he can with him down to the grave, down to hell, man. We know hell is making references to the grave, not a literal place, or they like in the Greek mythology and so forth. But we know that Esau is trying to take as many as Israelites as he can with him, man, because he know Esau don't have a chance in hell. So we kind of want to cover these things today. And the first precept, well-known precept that we always go to. We're going to keep bringing these things out, because like we said, we want to flee Babylon's snares and traps. Meaning what? Do we physically? No, this is talking about a spiritual flee, meaning come up out of her politics, her religions, interracial marriage, idolatry, their holidays, all these things that go contrary to what the Bible is going into. These are the things that we must go and come out of. We're going to cover some of these things today. Like I said, it's not going to be a long class, but we just want to touch on these things and keep brothers and sisters in the spirit. Our praise, yeah, we do got next. We pray the Most High God, hey, shorten the time too, sis. This is the first precept we're going to go to. Shalom, Brother Yaakov. I see you on the feed. First precept we're going to go to is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 4. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven, meaning what? From rulership. We know heaven has 4 types of definitions. It's going into the third heaven where the Most High God dwells, space, the sky, and rulership over the planet Earth. That is also called heaven, because a lot of our people don't understand that, guess what? The so-called white man and the other nations, they are in their heaven right now, and we are in our hell. Hell also is a condition. And guess what? We're on the bottom of society. We are literally living in hell. I'm going to read it again from the top. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. We're going to go back and read that again. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Even in the New Testament, Most High God is giving reference to what? To his people. His people in the Old Testament are the Israelites. Even in the New Testament, guess what? They are the Israelites. Like we always say, stop listening to these dumb pastors that's saying that everybody can be a child of God. Where is that in the Bible? Where is that in the New Testament? Because we got a plethora of scriptures that say otherwise. We're finna get some of those too. Let's go to the book of 1 Peter. That's why brothers and sisters have to be grounded in this walk, man. You have to be diligently keeping the commandments, so you can see the trickery, the deceit, and the lies from these wicked pastors from a mile away, man. This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 9. And it reads, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who had called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. So this is making references to what? Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. making reference to what? To the Israelites. Don't let these Christians try to take the book of Peter and try to assimilate all nations into these things, man. The prophets knew damn well who they was writing to, who the audience they was trying to convey the message to. Peter is literally pulling this from the book of Deuteronomy. Let's get there. Brother should know these precepts. Sisters should have these precepts, man. You know, put other precepts that you got in the comments. It's our job to, guess what? Keep brothers and sisters in the spirit. Keep brothers and sisters meditating and always thinking upon the scriptures. Let's get where he was pulling this from. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God had chosen thee to be a special people. Special and peculiar is going into the same thing. It says the Lord thy God had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So the New Testament is just quoting the Old Testament. And we say, stop listening to these people, because that's a part of their what? Their snare and their trap. They're literally trying to force what? Their religion on you. Mainly what? Christianity. But you got to go what? Precept upon precept. A lot of times people thinking that the Most High God is cast away his people. God is not cast away his people, man. Let's get that right quick. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Let's start with the book of Isaiah, chapter 41 and verse 9. I started at verse 8. But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. So Christians love to say, oh, I'm through Abraham. No, the Most High God is giving you a specific lineage that comes out of Abraham. Abraham had many sons, but it was only a chosen seed that counted for God's chosen people. You got Abraham, you got Isaac, and you got Jacob. Then out of Jacob come what? The 12 tribes of Israel. That's that lineage that the Most High God is going through. I'm going to read it again from the top. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 41 and verse 8. But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. Thou, whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, thou art my servant. So all nations cannot be a servant of the Most High God. All nations cannot be a servant of the Most High God. And we want Christians, if there are any on the line, put a scripture in there. Give us a call. Show us these precepts where it's literally saying that the servants of the Most High are the Moabites, or that the servants of the Most High are the Ammonites, or the Edomites, or the Elamites. You know, show us these precepts, man, because we're constantly reading the scriptures and we're not seeing these things. So we can't believe their report. It says, start at verse 9 again. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 41 and verse 9. Thou, whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, thou art my servant. I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away. So no matter the sins that our people have accumulated over the many generations, the Most High God said he was never going to cast us away. And it's reiterating the same thing, what? In the New Testament. Let's get there. Let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 1. They love to go to Paul's writings, but they don't really understand Paul's writings. Paul's writings are hard to be understood for people that are not keeping the commandment. But like we said, we always got that fruit out there that's made to do what? Be a snare and be a trap unto us. This is where Paul was pulling this from. He was pulling it from what? The Old Testament. This is the book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 1. I say then, had God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. So Paul made that plain. He's giving a sense right here. Even in the New Testament, you have to go to these types of scriptures, brothers that go out there and teach on the streets. You know, you have to bring up these points and let them know, guess what? Even in the New Testament, guess what? God still has a separation of his people and the other nations. The Gentiles and the Gentiles in state of mind. That's one thing that's a constant snare and a trap unto them. Not having spiritual discernment on when it's talking about a real Gentile, when it's talking about Israelite in a Gentile state of mind. So we're going to go back. I'm going to go back to Revelation chapter 18 and verse 4. Read that thing again from the top. So it's our job to do what? Come up out of the ways. Come up out of the philosophies. Come up out of the spiritual wickedness that's here in Babylon. And guess what? Flee from these things, and guess what? Come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. I'm going to read that again. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plague. Because guess what? Babylon's plagues have reached up unto heaven. You got wars out here. What nation of people is causing the most wars? With their politics, with their framing mischiefs by laws, passing laws that are to what? To our detriment. We got to come up out of all these things, man. The idols, like we say, the whoredom, the interracial marriage. Every commercial that you see is what? Is a constant reminder of what? The wickedness that Babylon is doing in here. You constantly see interracial marriages, commercials. And to the brothers and sisters that don't have a clue, they think that that's being what? More inclusive. Now you're starting to see what? Homosexuality commercials spring up like it's nothing. You know, you got all type of madness that's going on in Babylon. So the Most High God is calling us to do what? Come up out of these ways. Let's get another precept, because this thing is reiterated throughout the scriptures. Let's go to the book of Zechariah. Matthew's 18 and 4 precepts with Zechariah 2 and 6. Brothers and sisters got to write that thing down, man. Matthew's 18 and 4 precepts with Zechariah 2 and 6. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 2 and verse 6. It says, ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north. Now, this is parabolic. Now, this scripture is also double fold, like how we read about many scriptures in the Bible. Let's get that. Hold that precept. Let's prove that the Bible is double fold on a lot of scriptures. Famous precept we always go to give the sense or the understanding. This is the book of Job, chapter 11 and verse 6. And that he will show thee the secrets of wisdom. So the Most High God is letting us know that it's a secret to the wisdom of the Bible, that they are double to that which is, meaning a lot of scriptures, a lot of verses in the Bible are double fold. It could be talking about that present time in which the scriptures was written, but more importantly, on a deeper level, it's talking about future prophecies as well. This is what Christians don't understand the Bible. That knowledge hadn't been imputed unto them. I'm going to read this again. This is the book of Job, chapter 11 and verse 6. And that he will show thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is. Know therefore that God exacted of thee less than thine iniquity deserveth. The first part that we wanted was really what we wanted, that the secrets, that the understanding of the Bible is double. Let's get another precept on that. Go to the book of Sirach, chapter 42 and verse 24, saying the same thing. Like we say, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, the matter shall be established. Let's go to the book of Sirach. Say the book of Sirach, chapter 42, verse 24. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 42 and verse 24. All things are double, one against another, and he had made nothing imperfect. One thing established the good of another, and who shall be filled with beholding his glory. So it's saying the same thing, that these things, the understanding, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Bible, many of these things have double meanings, and they can go two folds. Just like what we're reading in the book of Zechariah. Let's go back. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 2 and verse 6. And Zechariah was in what? He was in the Persian and Mede captivity. You know, so this also, no, that's one thing that brothers and sisters especially have to get up on, especially you brothers that teach out there on the streets. You have to be up on your geography. You have to be up on your geography. Let me see, it says. I know I see the comment, not to take away from the word, but the thing is, I seen that question from the brother. Main things brothers got it. He said, I asked the Most High to give me riches, wealth, bigger house, car, good healthness. Now, I really don't understand. I can't see the rest of the comment, but the thing is, you want to ask him to give you wisdom and knowledge and understanding first. All those things can get you riches, but the thing is, you need to be trying to seek the kingdom of heaven first. Put it back in the comment, because I really don't understand your question, or if you just jotting it down. We're going to go back to the book of Zechariah, chapter 2, verse 6. It reads, Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north. So this is parabolic. This is double fold. Meaning what? Saying the same thing that it said in the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 4. The land of the north is making references to North America. During this time, Zechariah was in the Persian and Mede captivity. That also was, to an extent, northeast of Israel. So you have to know geography too. Know that it's not only talking about them during that time, because he was going to send the Persian and Medes to overtake the Babylonians. It says, Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, said the Lord. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of heaven. Meaning what? The Most High God scattered us into all nations by way of slavery because of what? Our wickedness, because we broke the commandments. And that was a curse that was put on us when you read the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. I'm going to read it again from the top. It says, Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, said the Lord. As they're talking about literally pack up your bags and flee from North America, let's go over here to the Middle East, let's go to Jerusalem, let's go to Israel. No, it's not talking about that. It's talking about come up out of the way spiritually. Because like we always bring out in the Battle Axes, the America's political, religious, and all their other beliefs reach to the four corners of the earth. So it's nowhere that you can run that you'll be outside of the spiritual wickedness that they bring forth on the earth. There's no way. Like we say, you have to come up out of this place spiritually, brothers and sisters. It says, I'm going to read it again. It says, Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, said the Lord. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of heaven, said the Lord. This is the point. Verse 7. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. And that's a key word, because we all know that the Most High God is making and compares Esau, which is a so-called Caucasian man, to the Babylonians today. Let's get that precept. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 7. So this is how we know that it's over here talking about America today, without a shadow of a doubt. And we're going to get that precept too. I got another one in my head. This is to prove that Esau, or the so-called Caucasian race, is referenced as Babylon in the Bible. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 7. It says, Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. So the Most High God is letting you know that Esau is referenced as the daughter of Babylon, making reference to over here in America to this day. It says, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Meaning what? It was going to come a time. It's prophesied in the Bible, in the book of Obadiah, in the book of Jeremiah, that guess what? The Edomites will be no more on the planet Earth. Most High God has had their fill of them. And guess what? They're going to do 1,000 years in captivity, according to Revelation chapter 20, verse 4 and 5 on down. And then they're going to be exterminated off the planet Earth, according to the book of Obadiah. I mean, it is what it is. So that's literally letting you know that the kingdom of heaven is not for everybody. If people are admitted, no. If a specific nation of people, the Igbo people, Shalom, Sister Princess Esther, the Igbo people are a part of Israel. And there was a part of people when we dwelt in the land of Africa, when we was running from persecution of the Romans in 70 AD. We dwelt in Africa for over 1,000 years. And a lot of times our people names were changed. So yes, the Igbo people are Israelites. But going back to the reference, I'm going to read this again. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. So the Most High God want us to be happy that, guess what? He's going to reward them as they have rewarded us. And brothers got to shake that weak nature, because, hey, Esau is going to get double for what they have done to us, man. You know, whether brothers or sisters like it or not, sisters have to shake that weak nature. It says, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone. So we're literally going to have Edomite babies and take them and dash them against the stone. You know, that's hard for some brothers and sisters to understand, man. But guess what? They did it to our people of the northern tribe. They literally took the ones. You go into the history of the Trail of Tears, where they had the certain of the Native American tribes of Gad and Reuben coming and walking from Oklahoma all the way to Florida, you know, to displace them because they wanted their land. The little ones that fell behind, you read about Andrew Jackson and his army, his troops would take the babies that couldn't keep up during the wintertime and dash them against the stones. You know, you read about those accounts. You know, Montezino, you know, the Spanish conquistadors that came and conquered, and the atrocities that they did to the northern tribe and of the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Issachar, so-called Mexican Americans today. So you can read that history on that, man. This history is open to all of us. That's why we have these phones. You know, it's right there at the touch of a finger. You know, it tells us that knowledge will be increasing these last days. Let's go back to the book of Zechariah. In Zechariah chapter 2, verse 7, it says, deliver thyself, O Zion, making reference to Israel, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. What nation of people are we dwelling with? We over here in Edomite capital city of the world, which is America. Babylon the Great, dwelling with what? Dwelling with our enemy, dwelling with the Edomites. This is how we know that Esau is the so-called white man. No, he is not no damn Arabian. He is not the Ishmaelites. You know, like we said, if he's the Ishmaelites, then who are the Ishmaelites? Brothers got to shake those false doctrines in Israel, man. So this is another precept that you can pull with that. Most High God want us to come up out of their religion, because philosophies, interracial marriage, because these are some of the things that they push on our people. Like we said, let's go get the main verses. Let's show one of the things that they push on our people. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. How many times have we seen commercials constantly and bombarded with, guess what, interracial marriage couples? See the Edomite man with the Judah sister, or you see the Judah sister with the Edomite man, vice versa. See Issachar with Esau, seeing Gad. No, damn well Gad don't have no business dealing with no other nation, man, especially Esau when they done raped, robbed, and pillaged our country. I know I work with a so-called tribe of Gad, and guess what? You got to eat my wife. You look at it all the time like, man, you got to be out your damn mind. Like, come on, you know that they literally raped, robbed, and stole this land from you. But through America's policies, through their philosophies, through their witchcraft, now it seems like everything is all good. How can it be all good when they constantly still oppressing us as a nation of people? You don't even hear about the Native Americans anymore, man. They just, hey, you don't even hear about them. They done put them on the reservations with no natural resources, not even the casinos or anything. And hey, you just don't hear about them no more. I'm going to read this again. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 3. Thou shalt not, that's like it, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So would the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. So the Most High God is telling us interracial marriage is forbidden. That is against God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Because it's telling you, once we mix with the other nations or marry the other nations, they cause us to do what? Go off. Because if you got an Edomite wife, try to hang an image of Christ up in there, the true image of Christ according to the Bible, she's going to have a problem with that thing, man. Then be trying to force what? Her religion. her doctrines, her philosophies on the children, because 9 times out of 10, while the man is at work, that wife is doing what? Teaching those children. He's learning her mannerisms and her customs and not our fathers. It was things that happened time and time again. Let's go to another precept. Go to the book showing up that those things are forbidden. Let's go to the book of Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1, one of my favorite ones. I'm going to start at verse 1. This is the book of Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands. So when the Most High God was giving us the land of Israel, it was our job to go in and destroy, guess what? The Canaanites, all those Hamitic and African nations, to guess what? Get them up out of the land, because they was doing all type of wicked rituals, cannibalism, sacrificing their children, worshiping idols and so forth. So the Most High God didn't want those nations over there, because he knew that we would fall into those snares and traps. It reads, I'm going to start at verse 1 again. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of those lands. Because like we doing today, we're not separating from them. Now we got the remnant that's waking up. We're separating. But as a nation of people, we're not. It says, doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the peoples of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and rulers have been chief in this trespass. So it's letting us know, when we have holy seeds, you men that carry the sperm. It's literally what it's saying. When we're giving our seed to the other nations, guess what? That's going off. The Most High God said, don't mingle your holy seed amongst these other nations. It's constantly telling us to get with what? Get with people of your tribe. Let's go to the book of Tobit. Brothers should have these precepts, man. Put more interracial precepts in the comment if you can, man. Like we said, it's our job to not only be going through the classes with brothers, but to also, guess what, add unto those things, man. Because these things help brothers, guess what, go out and better teach out there in the world. This is the book of Tobit, chapter 4 and verse 12. It says, beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife. Meaning what? Don't take another nation to wife. You see it many times in the sports. They literally steer so-called Negroes or so-called blacks that's in the NBA and these sports entertainment world away from the women of their own kind and steer them towards Edomite. What do you think they're doing with those things? Edomite taking that money that her husband is giving her, using and building up her nation, stacking up money for her nation, and then a brother has his nation hung out to dry. It's not supposed to be like that in Israel. I'm going to start again from the top. This is the book of Tobit, chapter 4 and verse 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe. For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred, and were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. So he's telling us plainly, guess what? Choose a woman from your own nation. It can be out of any one of the 12 tribes, because we obviously see that King Saul gave his daughter Micah to King David. King Saul was of the tribe of Benjamin, and David was of the tribe of Judah. So you got 12 beautiful women out of 12 tribes to choose from. But our people want to go get the lowest, the bottom of the barrel. Susie, like I always say, the dogs are the little. Brothers got to come up out of that mentality, and they do that because they thinking subconsciously that they can do what? Be equal to Esau. And that's not the case. All praise. We pray that brothers and sisters keep gathering, man. Let's go back. Like I said, this is one of the things. We're going to get another precept. Let's go to the book, because these things were reiterated constantly. You had the prophet Jeremiah speak about it. We just read what Zechariah spoke about fleeing from the midst of Babylon. We just read about John the Revelator in the book of Revelations 18:4. We read about fleeing from the midst of Babylon, meaning what come up out of them spiritually. Now let's get another precept, a third witness in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 6. So you got your three precepts. Jeremiah 51 and 6 and 7, Zechariah 2 and 6, and then Revelation chapter 18 and verse 4. All those precepts together. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 6. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. So it didn't say physically get up out of there. It's saying deliver every man his soul. How do you deliver your soul? You deliver your soul by what? Taking heed to the commandments, applying these things to your everyday life, so you don't get that seal of death, that you can have a seal of life, like how the Most High God marked them in the book of Ezekiel. Let's get that right quick. You want to be marked with the seal of life, man, and not with death. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 9 and verse 6. Start at verse 4. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 9 and verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So that's what we're out there doing. That's what brothers in many different camps are out there doing, Sabbath in and Sabbath out. And if brothers are not doing that, guess what? You need to be aligning your spirit up to do those things. You know, whether like how we got Brother Yaakov doing fly missions over there in Memphis and so forth. You know, we got brothers out there trying to put in the work, man. Do what you can to do what, try to get your people to wake up, man. You know, do what you can, man, in this thing to the Most High God. Do what? Increase and bring more brothers in so you can do more work, man. It says, and he said unto them, verse 4 again from the top, and he said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little ones and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So the Most High God is literally going to give a seal or a mark for those to be put to death and those to be saved in that day. You want to make sure that you have that mark to be what? Saved in that day. Coming up out of the midst of Babylon. Not dealing in idolatry. Not dealing in whoredom. Not dealing in politics and so forth. Voting and census and so forth. We're going to try to cover all those things today. So he's literally telling us to come up out of these ways, man. Another thing that gets our people going off is idolatry. One precept I want to pull right quick. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 119 and verse 10. So we got another way that we go off as a nation of people dealing what? In idolatry. You know, idolatry is a heavy, heavy sin, man. That means you are idolizing something. Basically putting those things before you're putting the Most High. Idolatry doesn't just have to be the cross or the cobblestone. It could be your money. It could be your job. It could be your car. You know, Judah and Issachar, we love them. We love us some nice cars. You know, brothers put $50,000 into a car, man. What is that going to do when you're not going to make it to the kingdom of heaven, man? You know, you can ride around and floss and look good right now, and even they not doing that probably as much with this $10 gas that's out here a gallon. So Most High God gonna even put the brakes on that thing, man. Literally, you know, brothers is not gonna be joyriding out here, man. Even down there in Florida, because we know how they love the cars down there and so forth. But let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 119, in verse 10. It says, the wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I erred not from thy precepts. So even King David in his Psalms was saying that the wicked is going into the Edomites, going into the other nations, but mainly the Edomites, because they're at the spearhead of all the wickedness that's going on in the earth. It says the wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I erred not from thy precepts. So no matter the politics that we see on TV with them constantly playing a war, don't get into all that stuff, brothers and sisters. Yes, we pray for our Israelite brothers and sisters that's over there in the Ukraine, but guess what? It's the Most High God's will, man. We pray that those brothers and sisters over there have repented and woke up, acknowledged their heritage, and came back to the commandments. And Lord's will, the Most High God spare them, man. But we're not getting into that stuff, man. We want that stuff to happen because it's all for our salvation. We got to always keep that in mind. So we want to make sure, I'm going to read it again. The wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I erred not from thy precepts, meaning from the commandments. Thy testimonies have I taken as an heritage forever, for they are rejoicing of my heart. So when we're keeping these commandments, that brings rejoicing to our heart, knowing that we're God's chosen people, knowing that we're not just niggas, just spics, just Indians and so forth. No, we're a special nation. We're God's chosen people. We're the sons of the living God. Verse 112, I have inclined my heart to perform thy statutes always, even unto the end. So that's what our job is to do. That's the only way we can come up out of Babylon, man. Is to, guess what? Perform these things always unto the end. We're going to go back to Jeremiah chapter 51. And like we say, Jeremiah 51, that's a heavy chapter. Brothers and sisters got to read those things, because it's also making reference to what? To Babylon the Great over here. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Meaning what? The nations have taken on their philosophies. Now you got, like we bring up all the times, you got some East Indians worshiping Christ. You got Chinese people worshiping the red image of Christ. You got Africans worshiping the red image of Christ, because Esau or America goes in and put their politics, put their religions in these other places, in these other countries. So they have made the nations mad, meaning crazy, meaning drunken with these philosophies. Wine is making references to lies and to philosophies. Let's get the precept. Go to the book of Micah. Doctrines, lies, and philosophies, because that's what Esau spreads all over the earth. Go to the book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 11. If a man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and of strong drink, he shall even be the prophet of this people. So the Most High God is comparing wine and strong drink to lies, because these things make you what? They make you stagger on a spiritual level. Telling our people that we're Gentiles, it has our people staggering. Now, guess what? They believe those things, that they can just do anything and just believe on the Most High God, and thinking that they still going to receive the kingdom of heaven. Those are lies that Esau is perpetuating to, guess what? To destroy our people. That's a snare in the trap. That's all that it is, man. To cause them to, guess what? Fall along with them. We're going to get another precept. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 15. Give me another precept about wine equaling lies and philosophies and doctrines. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 15. It says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth the bottle to him, and maketh him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. So we know that nakedness is also a similitude for sin. So it's not literally talking about literal wine, even though wine can make you get out of your clothes if you done drunk too many of them. Going back to the references of what? Job chapter 11 and verse 6, meaning many scriptures are double fold. It's on a physical level, but on a deeper level, it's more talking about a spiritual level. Now, I'm going to read that again. It says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest the bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Meaning they're giving us their wine, their strong drink, or their philosophies, their wisdom. And guess what? Those things are causing our people to sin. That's exactly what it's doing, and it's a snare and a trap unto us. It's the same thing that the Most High God said he was going to judge us for as well. Let's go to the book of Joshua. Saying the same thing. I forgot to pull this earlier, but dealing with interracial marriage. Joshua chapter 23. Joshua chapter 23 and verse 11. It says, take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God. And that's something that the prophets always reiterated. What is love according to the Bible? And brother should know. 1 John 5 and 3, 2 John 1 and 6. You got Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 18, John 14, 15, John 15, 14. You have many precepts going into what love is. Love is the keeping of God's commandments. It's not talking about the emotional love, the physical. No, it's talking about keeping his commandments. I'm going to read that again from the top. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 23 and verse 11. It says, take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God. Else ye do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go in unto them, and they to you. Know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your side, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish from off this good land which the Lord God had given you. So the Most High God, it was Joshua's job to do what? Try to kill the remaining Hamites that were in our land, to get rid of them. But the Most High God left some of them in there to do what? Prove Israel thereby, whether or not they would keep the commandments of the Most High God or follow after the ways of the other nations. Then you know that the other nations are created for two purposes: to be the strong arm of the Lord, to either whoop us back into submission, or to be our servants and handmaids. They're the only two reasons for them to be created. That's it. Whether brothers and sisters want to believe it or not, it is what it is. So the Most High God said he was going to use them as snares, and guess what? They've been snares in our sides, thorns in our eyes, and so forth. You know, like we said, politics and so forth, even their idols, worshiping Astaroth, Easter or Easter, with so-called wicked holidays coming up, really going into the Passover, but then they made an idol out of those things. Brothers and sisters probably done seen that sitcom, The American Gods. That's based upon, like we said, the Bible. All the idols that they have in the Bible. Now they got even more idols right now. Facebook is an idol. TikTok can be an idol. All of these things, they didn't make it Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, the days of the week idols and so forth. These things have been going on for generations, and it's just getting worse and worse. Come up out of these traps, brothers and sisters, man. I get a precept to that. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9 and verse 12. We got to come up out of these traps that they land for our people, man. Catching us in the net, and guess what? We're entangled therein. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9 and verse 12. It says, For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare. So are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. So you have to understand and know when you're caught in a snare, in a trap, meaning spiritually. You have to be able to, that's why we covered that thing yesterday, knowing when you have to resist Satan. These different spirits are out there. These things are not out there for no reason. They're out there for a purpose, to guess what? Steer you away from the truth. Kind of a reiteration of yesterday's class. That's why we got to constantly keep bringing these things forward to, guess what, make sure brothers and sisters are staying on the straight path. Because it's those spirits out there that are for snares and traps to, guess what, catch you in the net. Catch you in the net of religion. Catch you in the net of philosophies, of politics and so forth. And to, guess what, hold you there. A net is a trap, like we said, what they use to catch animals with. And then ultimately they come in and kill down. That's ultimately what Esau want to do with his snares and traps. Have us caught up in that net, in that spiritual net, and then eventually, guess what, we're killed. Going down right along with them. But put a precept in there, Sirach chapter 17, verse 11. I don't know if it was from earlier, but these are traps and snares unto us. We'll get some more on that. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 28. Now I'm going to get Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. Showing you that these are a part of the curses. Us worshiping idols. I know the next thing we kind of want to touch on is those idols. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there, once, meaning when we got into those lands by way of slavery, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Then you have to be thinking on a level. What is the wood making references to? It's making references to the cross. Because nowhere in the Bible do you see to, guess what, worship a cross. Our Lord and Savior Yahushua was crucified on a cross. Like we always bring up the metaphor. It's just like me, if my son, Lord forbid, was killed, or anybody's son was killed with an AK-47, you're not going to then wear an AK-47 charm on your neck. That's just straight madness. That's idolatry. A lot of times our people don't even know. We just follow what we have been taught and passed down from generation to generation. The wood is making reference to the cross in Christianity, and the stone is making what reference to Islam, going into the cobblestone. Because our forefathers didn't do those things, not the righteous ones. But the main two religions that our people are in today are what? Christianity and Islam. We can throw in Catholicism too as well for the northern tribe. You got southern tribe in Christianity and in Islam, then you have northern tribe mainly in Catholicism. So even they worship what? The Virgin Mary. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell you to do those things, man. And let's see what the Most High God told us about that. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy 7 and 25. Let's see what he said about idols. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 25. The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein. So a lot of times these things snare us into those things, even when you got the Jesus piece. Now, I know Lil Boosie had a big one, had the one that mimicked the one that was in Brazil, that big old Cesar Borgia statue. Now, we know that our people hate white supremacy, but then you would have the nerves to rock a white Cesar Borgia, a white image of Jesus around your piece. That's hey, you say you hate white supremacy, but that's, guess what, promoting white supremacy to the highest level. And our people don't even know that they snared in those things. They're snared in that trap, man. It says, the graven images of their gods shall you burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or the gold. That's why a lot of times you have the artificer that makes it, or the jeweler that what? Dip it in gold, dip it in silver, all manner of jewels and diamonds and so forth to make it what? To make it likable. Hey, that's pretty, it's sparkly. Let me put that on. Man, that thing is the devil. I don't care how many carats of diamonds and rubies and golds it have on it, man. That thing is detestable in the sight of our God. It says that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein. For it is an abomination to the Lord thy God. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thine house, lest thou be a cursed thing like unto it. but thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. How many times we done seen Big Mama that pitch up SIBO sitting above the chimney? Even in the Christianity churches, it may be a mostly black church, but then they always have that what white image of Yahweh, of Christ in their church. I mean, that's straight idolatry. Now, you saying you love God, show us where he did those things. It's another precept. Let's go to the book of Leviticus. And like we said, this is one of the big 10. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 26 and verse 1. Ye shall make you no idols, nor graven images, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall ye set up any image of stone in your land to bow down unto it, for I am the Lord your God. So the Most High God was telling us, guess what? Don't make these graven images. Damn sure don't make them to bow down unto it. Now I know brothers have look controversy, but the scripture just gave us the understanding. Don't have the posters out there at camp. Well, brother, these are just for visual effects. You know how people are visual. We're not bowing down unto those things, like it just said in the scriptures. I'm going to read it again. Ye shall make you no idols, nor graven images, neither rear you up any standing image, neither shall ye set up any image of stone in your land to bow down unto it, for I am the Lord your God. So we can have images as to teach, but we're not setting those things up in the temple. We're not bowing down unto it. We're not praying to those things, man. That's a total difference. That is the understanding of that. So no idols, no crosses, no cobblestones, not putting your car before the Most High God, your job, none of these things. Let's go to the book of Proverbs 29 and 25. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 29 and verse 25. And it reads, the fear of man bringeth a snare, but whosoever put his trust in the Lord shall be safe. I'm going to read it again. It says, the fear of man bringeth a snare. So when brothers and sisters are fearful out here to do the work of the Most High God, it bringeth forth a trap. Most High God didn't give us that spirit of fear. We read that thing all the time. Let's get it right quick. Let's go to the book of 2 Timothy. The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 1 and verse 7. For God had not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So he didn't give us that spirit of fear, man. Most High God is giving you this knowledge to do what? Bid our people back to the marriage. This goes out for brothers that's afraid to do the work in the truth. That's, guess what? Afraid to go out and hit the streets to see our people eye to eye. Go out to you, Facebook and keyboard Israelites, man. Like I say, you need to be trying to get into a position to strengthen your spirit to, guess what? Build yourself up to go out there. Because they be the main ones trying to come at brothers that's out there on the forefronts, telling them, well, y'all need to do it this way. Brother, you do it that way. You get your behind off your butt and from behind your keyboard and come out there and do the work, and then do it what? Do it your damn way. You know? Like we say, brothers like that, what flex brother spirits, man. They not doing it, but then they want to tell you on how to do it. But y'all got to shake that type of spirit, man. Like we say, if you're not giving corrective criticism, man, fall back, man. Like I said, get your spirit built up so you're able to do these things, man. But if you're not going to do that, hey, like we say, shut the hell up, man, and get out the way and let real brothers come in and do this work, man. So the Most High God didn't give us the spirit of fear. We're going to go back to Proverbs 29 and 25. This is the book of Proverbs 29 and 25. The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whosoever put his trust in the Lord shall be safe. So when we're putting our trust in the Most High God, we'll be safe from the coming destruction that's pending, from thermonuclear fire. Putting your trust in the Lord is what? Keeping his commandments, keeping his laws, keeping his statutes. That's what's trusting and putting your trust in the Lord, having faith that he's coming back to save us out of this situation. You know, another thing, like we said, we got to come up out of their wicked high holy days, wicked hella days to lock it. Most High God give us high holy days that, guess what? we're supposed to be doing in this walk, man. Putting off the birthdays, putting off the Christmas, putting off the New Year's, putting off the Easters, putting on the Passover, putting on the new moon feast, putting on the Feast of Purim, putting on the Feast of Dedication, the Feast of Tabernacles. These are our high holy days that we should be celebrating. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation. Even these are my feasts. So the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, outlines God's high holy days. Going into the 7-day Sabbath, it's going into the new moon Sabbath, it's going into the Passover, what we got coming up. Like we said, brothers need to be practicing these things. So guess what? They can have a good understanding of these things. You don't want to wait till Passover come to be trying to get your spirit in line. No, be trying to get that thing in line right now. Be constantly trying to remove the leaven out of your spirit. The leaven represents what? Represents sin. You don't want sin rising in you now that, guess what, we getting close and close, because you want the Most High God to do what? Pass over us during that time in Egypt, just like Lord's will in this time. We want him to pass that debt to pass over us, those thermonuclear missiles to pass over us during this time. So these are the feasts of the Most High God. Nowhere does it tell us to do what? Celebrate Christmas. It doesn't tell us to do that in the Bible. Matter of fact, it talks against that. And we know a lot of times that's what brothers and sisters got to come up out of. That's one thing that they really have to flee from the midst of Babylon on. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, where it's literally telling you not to celebrate Christmas. No, it's not going to say it like how you want it. I want to literally see Christmas in there. Well, that word wasn't back during the time of Nimrod, brother. That word wasn't back during the time of when they was celebrating those things, sister. Like we say, this custom comes from the worship of Nimrod, one of the first African kings on the planet Earth. Not an Israelite, but a Hamite. Remember, the so-called blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans were Shemitic. The Africans are Hamitic. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way. Learn not the way of the heathen. Salaki, let me start again. It says, hear ye the word of the Lord. Salaki, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So the Most High God is telling us, don't learn the ways of the heathen, meaning what? The customs, the holidays that they're celebrating, the birthdays. You won't find to celebrate birthdays nowhere in the Bible. If brothers and sisters struggle with that thing, guess what? You have to go through the proper precepts. This is a precept concerning what? Not celebrating Christmas. It says, for the customs of the people are vain, verse 3. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest. And that's describing the custom. Remember, they didn't have the term Christmas during the time of Jeremiah in the Babylonian captivity, 586 BC. This was 500 years before Christ even was walked the earth, because he was thought about, because it was prophesied throughout all the scriptures. It says, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, meaning they must needs be carried, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. So this was an idol that our people was doing what? Was celebrating. Like we said, this custom comes from after the first Hamitic king, Nimrod. When you read about in the book of Genesis, after his death, people would cut down a tree and put it up in remembrance of Nimrod. And if you didn't put presents up under it, they thought that the spirit of Nimrod would come back and hunt or kill them. So even today, our people don't understand that Christmas is pagan in origin. It has nothing to do with the Bible. No, baby Jesus wasn't born on that day. You know, like how they saying in what's his name? The race car driver. Look, baby Jesus, no. You won't find these things in the Bible. But you will find what? Passover in the Bible. You know, you'll find these things. Let's get there. Like we say, our people try to go all out for Christmas. Well, hey, let's start going all out for the Passover. You know, for the Feast of Dedication, for the Day of Atonement. These are the things that we need to be going out for. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. So, guys, our holy days are proclaimed in their seasons. You don't want to catch yourself, guess what, celebrating Passover in the winter. You know, that's why the calendar was adjusted. Because we seen on the map, Captain Maccabee seen that, guess what? Captain Jerubbaal saying that these things will still be in the winter, so they had to make adjustments on these things. And Captain Yar, this is the book, I'm going to read it again from the top, the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which he shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. So our Passover is coming up on April the 14th, which is a Thursday night. So we will celebrate that Thursday night at even. The 14th night at even is the 15th day. Because y'all know, brothers and sisters, the evening starts today. Verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. So we have to keep the Passover and the feast of unleavened bread. These are our holy days that we're commanded to do. And when you read through the whole chapter, we're not going to read the whole chapter. When you read these things, you will clearly see that the Passover is coming up. It was like 5 days later. 5 weeks later. Salakia. We're going to get into this birthdays right quick. Let's go to the book of Job. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 3 and verse 1, because we know these are some of the two biggest holidays that our people love to celebrate, man. You know, they can't get over it. That's the highest form of idolatry. Even like Brother Solomon was bringing it out. And when you're reading a satanic book, they would say it's one of the most wickedest days that you could ever celebrate. You know, the highest form of idolatry is the book of Job, chapter 3 and verse 1. After this, opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, let the day perish wherein I was born. So we know what your day is. Your day is going into what? Your birthday. Because you hear people say, when it is their birthday, this is my day. Give me some money for my day. This is my born day. You know, we know the slick people that's out there, you trying to use these new terms, happy born day. Brother, stop. Sister, stop, man. Stop trying to be slick. Stop trying to trim your ways just to get to celebrate that wicked holiday. I'll read it again from the top. After this, opened Job his mouth, Salakia, and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, there is a man-child conceived. Let that day be darkness. Let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. So he said he cursed that day, meaning he wasn't celebrating those things. We see in the previous chapter, in chapter 1, that his children did those things, and guess what? He had to make a sacrifice for those things. Only time you made sacrifices was for sin. So like, let me correct that. He made a sacrifice for that because it was sin. Sacrifice, sin wasn't the only thing that you sacrificed for. You also could give a drink offering, free will offering. There was many other offerings, but he gave a sacrifice because it's letting you know that in particular was a sin. This is another precept, Jeremiah chapter 20 and verse 14. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 20 and verse 14. Brothers and sisters, y'all write these precepts down to show your family members that guess what? We're not supposed to celebrate birthdays according to the Bible. It says, cursed be the day wherein I was born. Let not the day wherein my mother bare me be blessed. Cursed be the man who brought tidings to my father, saying, a man child is born unto thee, making him very glad. Meaning tidings bringing gifts and so forth. We know our people love the gifts on their birthday. It's telling Jeremiah the prophet. We know that Jeremiah and Job were righteous men. So he's saying, guess what? Don't do this. Don't do this custom. It says, cursed be the man who brought me tidings to my father, saying, a man child is born unto thee, making him very glad. And let that man be as the cities which the Lord overthrew, and repented not. And let him hear the cry in the morning, and the shouting at noontide. So he was saying, guess what? Don't regard those days, man. Let the Most High God do what? Bring destruction if you've fallen into that, man. These are some of the ways that, guess what, we're snared and trapped, because you're snared to, guess what, worship yourself. Brothers and sisters, guess what? You're literally putting yourself above the Most High on that day. You ain't thinking about nobody but what you want on that day. Guess what? We should always reference the Most High God every day. Every day, man. Constantly, man. See if I can find that precept right quick. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 43 and verse 30. When ye glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as ye can, for even yet he will far exceed. And when ye exalt him, put forth all your strength, and be not weary, for ye can never go far enough. We can never go far enough when we're praising and glorifying the Most High God. This is the person that we should be worshiping and glorifying every day. Not when it comes to our birthday, we doing what? The opposite, putting the Most High God above, putting our birthday above the Most High God. No, we should be glorifying the Most High God every day. Like it says in the scriptures, we can never go far enough, man. Hey, morning, noon, and night, get up as many prayers as you can, man. Thanking the Most High God that, guess what, he have you in this truth. To the brothers and sisters that are out there knowing that they're Israel, knowing that they have to keep the commandments. You have to give their praises up all the time, man. Just think about all the people that don't know who they are, the people that pass you all the time, look at you and mug your fringes and so forth, not knowing that they're God's chosen people, not knowing that they're the best thing on the planet Earth. You know, you could be in that estate, but the Most High God got you in that truth. So we have to glorify him for that. Let's touch on even the politics. Let's get that, man. Go to the book of Deuteronomy. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17 and verse 15. Going into the politics, going into voting. Should we vote? Should we be for Biden and so forth? I mean, hell no. You can literally tell Biden used to be a Republican in his early years. You know, a lot of times they done changed the name to change the game just to get the black and Hispanic vote. You know, and they use our votes, but then when you see our neighborhoods, they still look the same. Letting you know that politics is not in our best interest. Hey, the hood's gonna look the same whether a Republican in office or a Democrat is in office. You know, look, Obama, he wasn't even my people. We know these things, but a lot of our people don't, because they think that just because you have brown skin, they make you all black. No, but the hoods are still looking the same with Obama. And statistically, shoot, he locked up more illegals than any other president. We're going to read this, though. Going into politics, going into voting. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17 and verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren. So we know damn well Biden is not one of our brethren. You know, he don't come from no tribe of Judah. He don't come from the nation of Israel. It says, thou shalt set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. So the Bible is specifically telling us, don't set any other nation over us that is not of our tribe or not of our brother. Meaning what? Not of the nation of Israel. Because we know that they're what? They're not going to have our best interests at heart. They're not, man. We see it today. We seeing the fruits of Biden in office. Ain't a damn thing changed. You know? Ain't a damn thing. That's right. He's straight Esau. We know damn well Esau don't have no goodwill towards us. You don't think Biden don't know he an Edomite? You don't think that he don't know that they have the Israelites in their possessions? They know these things. It's only our people that don't know these things. Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 16. Because like I said, this is a spirit going into Revelation chapter 16, different type of spirits that's on the planet Earth. The spirits out there to push what? Politics. Politics are not in our favor. This is the book of Revelations chapter 16. I'm going to start at verse 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. The vial is going into spiritual indignation against the planet Earth and against the inhabitants thereof. Most High God is causing these spirits to do what? Get World War III started and sparked up. So this is one of the things that's going to happen. I'm going to read it again. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 16 and verse 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up. So we're literally seeing the river Euphrates being dried up. The Most High God has spirits out there working, putting it on the people to do what? Drain that river. It's become polluted. You know, they've been taking the water. It's not enough to sustain the population that's over there, so it's drying up, literally. It says, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Meaning he's drying up that river over there, so the dragons of Arabia can come across the Euphrates, so China, so Russia, so they can make an easy path through that way to, guess what, get Armageddon started up, or World War III started up. Verse 13, and I saw three unclean spirits like frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of the Almighty. So in this, these three unclean spirits goes into your politics, goes into economics or the banking system, and it goes into religion. These three things are what causes wars on the planet Earth. People in politics, you even see it over here in America, the Republic versus the Democrat. Hey, y'all the same damn people. What the hell y'all going at each other for? But like the Most High God is saying, these are the spirits of devils. So the Most High God is doing that to do what? Cause division between them. Because what? A divided nation is an easier nation to take down. You know, that's what they did to us. That's the same playbook they did. They divided the northern and the southern tribe. Even the Most High God did that, you know. And now he's what? In the process of putting these things back together. So we know that what? Politics divides us. We know damn well economics divides us, because Esau is at the top, and guess what? We're at the bottom. But even economics against each other, that's why you see the prices of oil rising up. You don't think that Putin has accounted for that? There's going to be some things that he didn't account for, you know, but those things are made to stir up what? World War III. You know, America is looking for oil. Pretty soon the people will be outraged. That's why we tell brothers and sisters, man, don't take this income tax money, man, and just squander that stuff off. You don't know how long, guess what, these gas prices are going to keep rising, man. Yeah, you want to stay in the spirit with those things, man. You also want to have faith in the Most High God that he's ultimately going to keep us safe from this harm. But hey, we can't be dumb about your money and your resources, brothers and sisters, man. Talking about you Israelites in this truth, man. You can't be dumb to this thing, man, and naive. It says, I saw three unclean spirits like frogs, because like we said, these spirits jump like frogs all over the place. And these things are unclean. These spirits of politics, economics, and religion, guess what? It's tearing the world apart. And we see this thing right before our eyes, man. Look at Christianity. Look at Islam. Those are the two biggest, bloodiest religions on the face of the planet, man. And those things have our people snared and trapped. It's having the whole world snared and trapped, man. So these are the spirits that's out there, man. Don't get entangled in these spirits, brothers and sisters, man. Let's see. see what else I want, brothers and sisters. Like we say, don't be entangled in these things. That's why he's constantly telling us to do what? Come up out of the ways of Babylon, brothers and sisters. So like, we say, you want to make sure that brothers have a spiritual discernment in these last days, praying that the Most High God open your eyes. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 42 and verse 18. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 42 and verse 18. It says, hear ye deaf, and look ye blind, that ye may see. Because our people are spiritually deaf and they're spiritually blind out here. No matter how many times we can bring the precepts out on the corners, our people stop their ears. They don't want to hear, knowing damn well that this thing is the truth. We're literally saying things that are happening before they happen. We have been prophesying to brothers and sisters that guess what? Russia was going to get into this thing. Now, guess what? We have it. Russia is into this thing. Sooner or later, China is going to get into the mix. Then sooner or later, the EU is going to get into the mix. Then sooner or later, America is going to get into the mix. Then we're going to literally have World War III. Then the nuclear bombs is going to hit. We here literally are seeing these things on the verge. So our people have to shake the spiritual deafness and the spiritual blindness. They can see these things, man. But the Most High God is closing their eyes. They can see it physically, but Most High God is closing their eyes, what, spiritually. I'm going to read that again. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 42 and verse 18. Hear ye deaf, and look ye blind, that ye may see. Who is blind but my servant? So the Most High God is calling the Israelites blind because we are the servants of the Most High, according to what? Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 4, Isaiah 44 and verse 1. You know, many other precepts showing you who the servants of the Most High God is. It says, who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent? So we knowing that it's not talking about no damn Muhammad. Muhammad is not a prophet, man. He is not a messenger of the Most High God. Only the Israelites are messengers. Only the Israelites are prophets. It says that I sent. Who is blind as he that is perfect? Because who is the only one that can be perfect? The Israelites. According to what? Psalms 19 and 7. It says, as he that is perfect and blind as the Lord's servant. So we see our people. Our people care about the curves. Our people care about money and money, girls, and clothes. That's all our people care about, man. And that makes our people what? Spiritually blind and spiritually deaf. That's a trap that Esau puts on our people to guess what? Not wanting them to come back to their heritage. But according to the Bible, it's high time we wake up out of sleep, Israel. Let's get there. Let me end on that. It's high time we wake up out of sleep, Israel. Now, brothers and sisters, got some quick questions right quick, man. Y'all more than welcome to put them in the comment board. This is the book of Romans, chapter 13 and verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So the Most High God is telling us to do what? Awake out of sleep. Because guess what? Salvation is getting nearer and nearer than what we believe, brothers and sisters, man. And we say, keep the prayer, keep the fasting, man. Keep staying fervent in the spirit. Most of all, keep these laws, statutes, commandments. And with that, we say shalom. Real quick. Now, brother, we not under the new covenant. I'll answer this right quick. We're not under the new covenant. I know we hear that a lot of times in Christianity and Salakia, brothers and sisters. We're not under the new covenant, man. We can prove that. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 8, verse 8. Real quick, man. Like we say, don't be listening to these dumb pastors. Like we said, if we was in the new covenant, we would automatically know from birth to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. We don't do those things, so we're not in the new covenant. That's why we're out there still teaching. It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 8 and verse 8. For finding fault with them, he said, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when he will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, meaning what? Animal sacrifice. It says, because they continue not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, said the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days. After those days is very important. Christians will skip over that. After those days is not talking about these days right now, man. This is talking about what a future prophecy. It says, after those days, said the Lord, I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts. So we don't automatically know to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. That's why we're literally still out there teaching. That's why you still literally have brothers and sisters literally trying to go and buy fringes and put them on. You know, when we have the new covenant or fully in the new covenant, guess what? We're going to automatically know from birth to guess what? Wear fringes, not to eat unclean food, not to celebrate wicked holidays. We'll automatically know the cycles of the moon, to automatically know when Passover is, to celebrate these things, man, on a whole nother level. It says, verse 10 again from the top, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, meaning we'll be programmed in our minds to automatically know the commandments. That's what it means by write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor. This is another point to let you know that we're not in the new covenant. You see Israelites still out there teaching the word of the Most High God? This scripture just literally said that, guess what? We won't have to teach each other God's commandments. This is also another point to let you know that we're not in the commandments. No matter what these wicked pastors say, Pastor Elder Holloway, T.D. Snakes, Ricky Gay Rush, Joel Osteen, the list goes on and on, man. These things are not backed up by the scriptures. They're not backed up. I'm going to read it again. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. So in that day, when a new covenant comes, guess what? All of Israel will be programmed with the commandments automatically from birth. So no, we're not in the new covenant, brother. But with that, we always tell brothers and sisters to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, so that we love to bring out the laws. Like we say, make sure brothers and sisters are going over these laws. I know I brought one out earlier. We're just going to go back over it. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 25. I know we put out a few laws today. But we're going to read this. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 25. The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein. So the Most High God is telling us, don't have idols. Take off those crosses. Take off those Jesus piece. Stop worshiping that cobblestone. Stop worshiping, like we say, with the sage and stuff and all this madness, witchcraft, crystals, what our sisters love to do. Got to come up out of that madness, man. Worshiping the trees, worshiping all manner of source of wickedness and sorceries, man. We got to come up out of those things, brothers and sisters, man. Oh, you guess what? You're going to be snared therein, and guess what? You're going to be put to death in Babylon the Great, man. And with that, say all praise to Yahweh and to his son, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.